I'm going to start out with a ZvT from Nakamura. Got a few games from Exile, a game from Brogue, a couple of games from Jiggy. I'm going to try to get through all of them now. In the bottom right-hand corner of the map, it's the red Zerg, Nakamura. His opponent, in the top left, the blue Terran, Bollefro. I guess that's Bollefro. I actually don't know what the O with the slash through it means. I think it's in the Norwegian and or Swedish language that they use this. By the way, I also never noticed that you can actually hear birds chirping on this map. Interesting. What up, Exile? Good to see you, man. Yeah, I was feeling a bit lazy today, not gonna lie. I don't know about you, but when I have a week where I ladder a lot, then when I finally hit the promotion, or the re-promotion in this case, I just want to chill for a while. Usually for like a day or two at maximum before I get back into it again. But so I am definitely in chill mode right now still. I look like I'm a zombie. Thank you! Anyway, from Bollefro, we do have what appears to be a 3-rack... I was about to say 3-rack Reaper, but he would need a second gas. I think he needed a second gas sooner than that in order to produce effectively. I might be wrong. On Nakamura's side of things, he went with a a hatch first. Pool about to finish up now. Okay, so I'm not crazy. That gas was late, because this Reaper is about to finish up, and there will not be enough to produce off of this once it's done. Yeah, so there's going to be a slight delay. So the gas was slightly late. Not incredibly so. But when you do a build like this, a really heavy one-base build, you want to hit it as cleanly as possible. So a very slight delay on the Reaper being produced by the 3rd rack. Speed has been started here for Nakamura. I know Nakamura has told me that he has trouble holding Reaper cheeses. His defense will be tested here, as this is quite a commitment from Bollefro. Reaper's going to push in, do some damage to the Queen. Nothing outstanding being done one way or the other so far. First Ling does fall down. I guess not fall down, perhaps, but goes down. I don't know if a Ling can fall since they crawl. Anyway, Reapers continue to poke in. This Queen is getting low now. Speed still a little ways off for Nakamura. Bollefro has to be careful not to extend too far. It's a really fine line. You want to constantly press. Keep the Zerg under constant pressure. The more pressure, the better. But at the same time, if you go in too far and creep, then you can just straight up blow the game by getting surrounded. There is a bit of a supply block here for Nakamura. It's about to be relieved momentarily. Speed is also about to finish, which will help. Thus far, no Reapers falling for Bollefro. The Speedlings are out. Nice positioning from Bollefro. So far, he's primarily killed Zerglings. I'm sorry. One drone has been killed. But naturally, with this build, Nakamura has not gotten a 3rd base. I should say, with this pressure from Bollefro, he has not been able to get up a 3rd base. Bollefro is double expanding behind this, which is pretty normal. I'm actually a bit surprised that he didn't continue pressing with these Reapers. Not saying that I think he could have done a lot of damage. He would have to be careful with this wave of Zerglings. With Björn level control, he actually could take these Zerglings, but how many people in the world are Björn? And the answer is 1. But anyway, at the very least, I think if the Reapers continue to press, you might be able to force a mistake. And the fact of the matter is that while they're at home here, they're actually worthless. And I'm actually going to say straight up, this amount of Reapers can take this amount of Speedlings, period. Even with 4 Roaches, I would feel pretty darn confident with this amount of Reapers. Prove it, Exile, prove it. Third base on the way now for Nakamura. So all things considered, a good defense from Naka. Just lost a few Lings, and I think he lost a queen or 2. Did he lose both of the queens down here? Yeah, I think he did lose both of the queens here. But primarily Lings, only 1 drone went down, so a solid defense for Nakamura. He does not yet know about the double expansion. To be honest, I think Zerg should just expect it as a matter of course. When there's a 3 Rax Reaper build, the most standard thing Terran can do to transition out is to double expand. But we are going to go into a normal game now, by the looks of it. Naka's already getting his Spire tech. I don't think he has Evolution Chambers yet. No, he does not. Engineering Bay going down now for Bollefro, who's actually making a lot of Hellions and Siege Tanks. To me, this indicates that he wants to go mech. Yeah, if he was going bio, he would have started Stim and Combat Shields a while ago. Another indicator is this Fast Armory. So there's 1 Engineering Bay, no upgrades being researched there. The only reason to get this Fast Armory is because you actually want to upgrade mech units. Reaper's going to poke in, should be able to get this queen without a problem. Actually lets it get away, a bit surprised by that. Looks like he wants to come over here and pressure the 3rd instead. Should get the queen at the 3rd. Does in fact get it. Few drones going down as well. Decent damage here so far. More drones going down. Whoops. So this is definitely a good job here by Bollefro. Quite frustrating for Nakamura to deal with. Once the mutas come out, he's going to be able to put on some counter pressure of his own. Good surround there momentarily. Nakamura does finally get the full surround, and the Reapers are done. And so is the presence of any significant bioforce in this game. It's going to be mech versus, right now it appears to be Ling Muta. There are only a few Roaches sprinkled in. I think they were just... their primary purpose was just to defend the Reapers. I don't think Nakamura was actually planning to go into Roaches as a counter to mech, because he does not yet know that this is in fact mech. He's going to find out very shortly when he comes up here and sees all of these Hellbats and Siege Tanks. Scout sees there's still no 3rd base on location. That's going to be somewhat comforting for him. Morphing in a ton of Banelings. Again, though, unfortunately for Nakamura, he's going to run up here and realize that this is not bio. So melee attack is coming down for Nakamura. That's not going to do him much good in versus mech. He should wait for Baneling speed to finish before he goes for a bust. Good job dropping creep on both potential 3rd locations. 4th base being taken at the gold. Worker count in Nakamura's favor, but he could still go a bit higher, and in fact, right as I say that, he does add 8 more drones. This Widow Mine could do serious damage. Looks Naka should spot that. Does in fact send 1 Ling up. Would like to see him actually take that out with the Roaches. That 1 Ling will do the job too. And Naka has basically a soft contain right now. He has full map control. Still doesn't know that this is mech. As I said before, though, it's not really as though I can blame him for not getting that follow-up scout. He's going to get the scout now with these Mutalisks, who presumably were going in to do damage, but they're going to come in here, They see all of these factories, and we should see an immediate response from Nakamura. Fourth base is completing. Ling Bane coming up toward the natural. Good split there. Still Mutalisks coming in from Nakamura, and Mutalisks can in fact be deadly against mech compositions. Once multiple Thors come out, the Mutalisks are going to have to be really careful. Lots and lots of drones going down. I think that's actually a great choice from Nakamura. Against mech, generally speaking, you can drone up harder, take bases all around the map, because the mech player, most of the time, is just going to look to push out once they're maxed. And this mech player is not even on a third base yet, so he doesn't even have his 5th and 6th gases. Add-ons being picked off is actually a pretty big deal. That's going to delay the Thor production for a bit. This supply block is not helping Nakamura's cause at all, especially since he doesn't have any Overlords in production right now. It's actually hurting him quite a bit. He is getting a 5th base, 2nd Spire being added. This indicates, in all likelihood, greater Spire tech. Naka's still maintaining this soft contain. He's going to come in here, see the Thors. These Mutalisks have to be really careful. It's kind of an interesting mech composition here, by the way. Widowmine's destroying those Banelings. But I was about to say, this Thor Widowmine Hellbat, not something you see too often. Usually it's something like Tank, Hellbat, Viking, or like maybe Tank, Hellbat, Viking with a few Thors sprinkled in. But the meat of this army is actually Thors. Naka's still supply blocked here. This is actually a really big problem, because he's accumulating a significant bank, and he's not able to spend it as well as he could. Okay, there we go. We just had apparently I missed those Overlords that were in production, but as we see, it went from 142 up to 187 instantly. But he shouldn't have to worry about supply blocks anymore, as he is approaching max. Overlord keeping an eye on the 4th base, additional command centers coming down, as well as some in-base command centers, at least one of which is going to be an orbital. Imagine this will be an orbital as well. So the mech player is going to have a lot of scans. He's actually going up to +3 plating and +2 vehicle weapons. So this mech army is quite well upgraded. Naka, of course, going with the most reliable counter to mech in the Zerg arsenal, that being Swarm Host. Later, he will look to add Vipers if he hasn't already. No, he does not. Yeah, Exile, I know you're all about those Swarm Hosts, man. Here they come, swooping in. Gonna get some free damage off on this planetary, while the Mutalisks dive in and try to get some harass damage. I believe they picked off a tank, but quite a few go down to the Thors. I think there were 3 tanks here, unless one of them was repositioned. I think one tank did end up going down. So the mech player, somewhat unsurprisingly, trading better than the Zerg right now. Once the Locusts, once the Swarm Hosts really start to get some volleys off, that will most likely change. I would say that will definitely change. 2 Thors going down immediately. 3rd should fall, possibly even a 4th. If it's focused, this will definitely fall. Bollefro just now pulling it away, and it looks like it will be saved. But that was 3 Thors going down for Locusts, and that is every Terran player, well, every mech player's nightmare. Cannot tell you how disheartening it is to lose costly units like that to a cooldown unit like Locusts. But, you know, with that being said, I do understand why Swarm Hosts are in the game. These Mutalisks are in big trouble. Because, let's face it, mech trades extremely well. I know Artosis has said before, I don't necessarily agree with him on this, but he has said that mech is the most cost-efficient unit composition in the game, and I would say yes, with the exception of free unit-based compositions, which outtrade mech. Need 30 Swarm Hosts. Only 16 at the moment, so halfway there. But in all honesty, I think it's actually I want to say a perfect amount of swarm hosts, because it is a significant amount. It can get serious damage done, but at the same time, it leaves room in the army for other units and for tech switches. So once, for example, once these Mutalisks are out of the game, and honestly at this point they're really not even going to be useful, so I think they could even be suicided. But once these are out, then some Broodlords can be morphed in. And I think Broodlord, Swarm Host, maybe even a few Infestors could be just what the Doctor ordered. The Doctor being a sadistic SOB. So it does look like that's exactly what Nakamura wants to do. I believe this is a supply free up here. One command center does go down. Locusts pick off yet another Thor. They're going to do more damage to this planetary. It shouldn't go down. If there's any repair, it's not going to go down. Quite a blunder there from Bollefro, losing that planetary fortress needlessly to the Locusts. Bollefro still doesn't realize the position of these swarm hosts, by the way. So the Mutalisks are all cleaned up now, but as I said, I believe that was intentional. Either way, it's going to work in Nakamura's favor, so good move. Definitely believe it was intentional. And what do we have here? Broodlords and Infestors. So it's exactly what I was saying. This amount of swarm hosts is very powerful. It was enough to take out all of the command centers, two of which were planetary fortresses, and at the same time, there's still enough room under the supply cap for other high-tech units such as Broodlords, Infestors, and I think there's still a good amount of Corruptors out there as well. It looks like Bollefro finally wants to push with basically just mass Thor. There are a few Hellions / Hellbats sprinkled in there, but this is pretty much a mass Thor composition. You do not see this every day. The 3 tanks, I believe all 3 of them are at home. I don't know where the third is. But yeah, these Thors are going to get serious work done. They're going to shred these bases. Thors absolutely destroy buildings. Nakamura is unfortunately going to lose those Corruptors for nothing. Fungals do go down, and while they are very useful for holding the Thors in place, they're not going to do as much damage as they would to a Bio army. Broodlings get to work on some of the Thors, but Naka has to pull those Broodlords away without any buffer in between the Thors and the Broodlords. That role of buffer will be played by the Locusts. Spawn incoming here. Once the Locusts get out and start to do work, the Broodlords can now sweep in. This is very well executed by Nakamura, by the way. The Broodlings can come in, swoop down, and try to get some real damage done. Now, Naka is basically going to rinse and repeat this process. He cannot engage the Thors with just the Broodlords alone. He needs a meat shield in front of them. Even if it's something that's, Locusts are relatively flimsy, but being that they're free, they do operate as a meat shield in this scenario. Bollefro does see that this base is taken, not yet mining. We take a look at the worker count. It's actually quite low for both sides. Still, no 4th base re-established for Bollefro, and that's going to hurt a lot because he does not have a gas bank. With that being said, Nakamura has a huge mineral bank, but virtually no gas bank either. So this is going to be interesting. Nakamura is going to have to fight to, I should say, Bollefro is going to have to fight to secure a 4th base. He will have to commit defense to this because whatever base he puts up can very quickly be taken down by Broodlings and Locusts. So he's going to have to really secure this 4th base here, and Nakamura has to look to take, or I should say, to start mining from another base very soon. He has bases taken, but he has not yet started mining from them. So this base here, and he would have to retake this one. This is what I'm talking about with these Thors just absolutely destroying buildings, especially when they're upgraded like this, and +3 attack has just finished now. That's 1 Thor. Imagine what that army full of Thors will do. But this is also what I was talking about here. Bollefro, if he wants to stay in this game, will have to commit units to defending his bases. He cannot continue for much longer with basically one base of mining. He's completely out of the main. He is now completely out of the natural, so it isn't basically, it is just one mining base. Thor going to come up and take out the gold base, but the gold is all gone, so it's really just denying some gas, which is important. Not the biggest deal here, but it is still important. These Thors need to be really careful not to run into locusts, which I know Nakamura is going to spawn any second now. Looks like he wants to get the infestors up front and lock down the Thors. That will be a good move. But Bollefro is privy to this information. He's keeping constant scans on Naka's army. Queens are not going to be quite enough to take out this Thor. And Nakamura suddenly finds himself in a position where he's on one mining base now. So we've got one mining base against basically 0 mining bases at this point. There's still some gas here, but the minerals are almost completely gone from this location. This is going to become a scrappy game. Nakamura does have the luxury of a gigantic mineral bank as well as a sizable swarm host army. So from this point forward, Nakamura should be trading cost efficiently, or cost effectively rather, for the rest of the game. Bollefro desperately trying to get over and re-secure this base, while this Thor, with the accompanying mule, the repairing mule, are going to take out yet another base. At the same time, Nakamura should easily be able to take out this location with the Broodlords alone. Locusts are going to very quickly dispose of the planetary fortresses, even pick off some SCVs on the way. And we're in a situation right now where the mech player, as of right now anyway, is on his last army. He's going to be landing at this location. He is about to complete a command center here, but that is no guarantee that he'll be able to mine from those locations. These Thors are going to take this base out in roughly 3.5 to 5 seconds. There it goes. Drones have been evacuated. Nakamura is suddenly in a really tough spot. At some point, these guys are going to have to engage one another. That's actually hilarious. That one SCV triggered a full wave of locusts. Hero SCV. If only it cost something. You would have been a real hero. This Widow Mine denies a critical base for Naka. Does this just look weird, or is this actually misplaced? I'm not sure. I'll be able to tell better when it's up. I think it's misplaced. Yeah, that's too long. Anyway, I will be pretty surprised if Naka is able to mine from this location. But I do think it's a good idea for him to try to take it, try to get away with it. If he can even just mine a little bit from here, that's going to be resources denied to Bollefro. Command center is taken out here. Zergling's going to go in and start harassing the SCVs. Really nice move here, especially since this is not a planetary. Thors are going to push in to the main. And by the way, this is on the old patch, so these are not the +1 armor buffed Thors. Either way, it's still scary. Oh, the piss was super real from those corruptors, man. Too real. Nakamura does not yet know about this gold base. Minerals are not going to be the biggest deal, though. For the mech army, this one gas is really what Bollefro needs. And at this point, I think he should probably reposition the Widow Mines to protect his only mining base. Nakamura does get this base up, and yeah, I think that that definitely is off. Does get up only to die, as is the case with this one, but this base has been retaken, and once again, Nakamura definitely needs to start mining from there as quickly as possible. He really needs to secure as many resources in a game like this. It's so important to mine as much as you possibly can before the inevitable army-on-army engagement. Because after that point, when you have two super powerful armies like this... Oh wow, that actually did splash to the invisible units because I hit the Overlords right... I'm sorry, the Overseers right above them. Anyway, in any engagement that comes, there are probably going to be heavy casualties on both sides. So whoever has mined more throughout the game will probably have the advantage and will probably get the win just based on being able to remax. Makes sense why he has no Broodlord skin. Why's that? It looks like we are finally going to get that engagement, and a wave, or I'm sorry, I was about to say a wave of Locusts has just finished, but that those were Broodlings up there. So Locusts are available. Fungals do go down, but a Scan goes down as well. Widow Mines are burrowed. They're not getting good hits. They're actually just hitting Broodlings, which is the worst possible thing for you to hit as the Terran player. And this engagement went insanely in Nakamura's favor. Good positioning, got the mech army into a choke point, and it was actually well timed for Nakamura as well in that he had Locusts available. He's going to lose all of the Infestors, but that is meaningless because Broodlords are going to rule the skies. He has 18 of them left even after that engagement. Well played. Naka did a really good job of just constantly hitting the mech player's fourth bases. I say fourth bases because he was never at any point where he got a fifth up. He just had to keep trying to retake. Once he was at three bases for the rest of the game, he just kept trying to take one base at a time, but it did not work out because of Nakamura's constant pressure. Oh, because Broodlord skin was with new patch. That's right. I totally